I just spent a whole lot of money on soil because apparently I made the internet angry. I'm about to do it again. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically we just got through installing these brand new garden beds and we had to fill them up with a lot of soil. And if I'd just gone out and bought the stuff in the bag already, that would have been expensive. So I decided to make my own. And whoo-wee, did y'all let me have it. Now, when we shared what we were doing, our primary goal was to basically get these beds filled as quickly and cheaply as possible in a way that we could still get things to grow. And as you can see here, they're growing very well. But there were some valid and good points that were brought up that we wanted to address today. Now, the majority of the comments kind of revolved around three main areas. One was the evils of peat moss. The other is what is and is not actually a compost, and why did you basically replace one bag with three. Today we're going to address all these points, maybe a few others, and set up an experiment to see if maybe we were a little bit wrong. Maybe there is a better way. Now, before we get started, I wanted you to know that we always appreciate comments, even if you think it might make us mad because you're going to say that we're wrong. No. We actually love to talk about things in the comments, especially if you've got facts or data that we may be wrong on, let us know. As long as you're being respectful, we're going to leave it behind for everybody else to see. Now, if you come in being a dingleberry, yeah, your stuff's going to go away. Now, I always recommend doing your own research. And one of the things that we found, we were looking into it, is that peat moss kind of got destroyed in Europe. Not only was Europe out there mining it for gardening, but they were also turning all of the wetlands into farmland afterwards. And Europe flat out had to ban peat moss mining altogether because they destroyed their entire industry. Now in America, most of ours comes from the upper northern part of America and from Canada. And because of all of the stuff that happened in Europe, the Canadian companies have been trying to find a much more sustainable way of not depleting their marshes. And in many cases, they actually have successfully mined out an area and then had it restored to a rebuilding state afterwards. So while it may not be perfect, it is an ongoing initiative to find a sustainable way to do peat moss. Now, outside of the ecological type stuff, peat moss isn't for every situation. Even on the bag itself, it says it's for acid-loving plants. It will affect the pH of your soil. So some of your crops will suffer if you try to grow them in that acidic soil. One of the more interesting comments we got was that earthworms can't live in peat moss, but as you've seen in some of our past videos, every time we dig through our soil, a handful of worms comes out. So do they not like it? Maybe, I don't know. But we've definitely had worms in ours. Now, if you're not going to use peat moss, what are you going to use? Seems like one of the main things that people are try to push is called coco coir. It's basically just ground up coconut husk from the coconut industry. So everywhere they're making all that coconut that comes in the bag or the can, afterwards they're chopping up all the shells that are just throwaway trash anyway and selling it to you as a replacement. And this is actually a very good and ecological option. The problem is those husks are very salty, so they have to do extra steps to get the salt out. So it may not work in every scenario as well. Plus, from what we looked at, it's a lot more expensive. 4.4 cubic feet of shaken up peat moss was $14 for us. And if you live out in the country like we do, you don't have but so much access. If you start driving out in a radius and start hitting the places you're going to see, a Walmart, a Lowe's, a Home Depot, none of these places in our area actually sell coco coir. The only thing they have is peat moss. About the only way we can get coco coir is to actually order it from Amazon. And it's like close to $30 for just 2 cubic feet. So basically half the size, twice the price, making it 4 times more expensive than peat moss. At that point, the price is getting close to what we're paying for a bag of Miracle-Gro. Now, I've never actually tried coco coir, but since you called me out, I spent my own money. A lot of it. And it's your fault.
It's not my fault.
I mean, it's their fault.
Oh, yeah, it's their fault.
fault.
It's 100% their fault.
So let's find out if it actually can do what some people say it can.
Should we also experiment with the Miracle-Gro soil too?
In fact, I'll do you one step better. We're going to basically set up 3 of these containers right here. And we're going to have one that's just plain old Miracle-Gro, the evil thing that everyone loves to hate of potting mix. One that has my original homemade formula of peat moss, perlite, and cow manure. And then a third one that matches purely kind of what I said. It's going to be a mushroom compost, the coco coir, and perlite. Now I wanted to use something that was sort of a good in-between plant. So we're going to be doing a bean.
Yes.
More beans for the wife.
Yes.
Beans are one of the vegetables that prefer a more neutral, middle-of-the-road soil. So that will sort of cover the mid-range that most things are. And I'm going to be putting about 5 per bucket. That way, if one seed is just a bad seed, we'll have 4 others to kind of see. And we were sort of joking earlier about getting called out on this, but someone basically called out the fact that black cow isn't compost, it's cow manure. When you're making these videos, you're not really thinking about your wording, and it's one of those, yeah, we're not going to edit that out and refilm it. So we just kind of left it as is. So in this case, we're going with a true mushroom compost, which is a true compost, where the black cow is just cow manure. Of course, it is technically composted cow manure. So doesn't it count?
The person was really nice.
Oh yeah, they were really, and it's like, technically it's 100% accurate. Like by definition, what I had was cow manure. It isn't technically a compost. Setting up a compost bin is something on my wish list, but we just haven't had time yet. And we don't produce enough stuff to give us a good amount of compost that would probably keep us going. And unlike the coco coir to peat moss, where there was like a 4 times higher price, the difference between the black cow and the mushroom compost was very negligible, essentially about the same price. It was also mentioned that instead of using 1 bag, I'm using 3. Technically, it was 4. But it takes a lot more than 1 bag to fill this up. As you remember, those 4 plastic bags plus the 1 paper bag of the perlite basically filled up this entire cart. So how many of these other plastic bags does it take to fill this up also? Y'all, the reason I bought all that.
Bag number 2. Bag number 3. I'm beginning to think that you're going to have to say I was wrong.
I'm married to you. I have to say I'm wrong every day.
You weren't wrong.
I was still wrong because I thought I needed 7.2 bags. So while I figure out what's going on, we are still technically at this point breaking even 4 bags to 4 bags. Yeah, in fact, ballpark math, the stuff that we just bought was about $60 for this. And it's about $40 for the stuff that I actually bought. So I'm saving about $20 per load on the total cost.
You mean the fact that you made your own soil?
The fact that I made my own, I saved about 20 bucks.
I want you to say you made your own soil to piss off the internet.
Yes, I made my own soil. I did quart. Apparently it's dry quart. A dry quart is bigger than a quart. So technically it's basically right at 2 cubic feet for a 50 quart bag.
But
so,
technically that's still 6 bags.
Yeah, technically 6 bags is what we would have expected to fill it, and it took 4. The 4 gave me the equal amount as the other one, so that's the important thing. Same video, different day. And it's windy, so pardon wind noise. There's a giant storm rolling in. Okay, so I'm gonna start drilling holes in all these buckets. I drill them a little bit above. That way it drains all the water out of here, but leaves a little bit in the very bottom so that in case you don't water your bucket and you get into a drought situation in your bucket, you still have a little bit of water reservoir at the bottom. That's why I don't go at the very bottom or the bottom. In fact, if you drill them on the bottom, it can get blocked by whatever it's sitting on. So I'm going every other one and hoping my OCD. Perfect.
Okay, so why did we buy 10 buckets?
Long story short, we have a lot of companion plants that are perennials, things like that, that we want to have a permanent home for. We've had some of these buckets right here for like 10, 15 years. So like these just last so much longer than the fabric pots and everything else. It gives us a nice way of having a portable thing that we can move around, that we can plant stuff in. Not to mention this stupid thing I had to do for y'all. Now I got a whole bunch of dirt and I got nowhere to put it. So yeah, basically 4 50 quart bags of Miracle-Gro filled up 5 of these 19-inch planters from Lowe's. And to everyone saying just use the native soil, here you go. This is the native red clay that we have. Basically mixing anything with this, you just have a bunch of crappy stuff and good stuff. So it's better off to just do your own and get good stuff. So,
and even if we used it, we'd have a hole in our yard.
Yeah, it's like, that's the thing I don't understand. It's like, I got these 5 giant beds full of dirt. Why do I want to go dig 5 giant holes out in the woods to steal the dirt there? It's like, no, I need the dirt one way or the other. I'm building raised beds. It doesn't make any sense to try to just steal that dirt. It's robbing Peter to pay Paul. Don't want to give the internet a reason to complain and say that I cheated by having other dirt in there. That was 14 bucks, and it expands up to 4.4 feet. So, and of course that's up to. Yes, you gotta love that marketing term. Anywhere from 0 to 4.4 is up to 4.4 feet. Now these two together, we got 2 different brands. The 2 of them together should expand to about 4.4 feet because it says over 2 feet. And these 2 were 60 bucks. So yeah, I'm just gonna basically take 2 5-gallon buckets of water, pour it in here, and let it sit, and let's see if it goes woof.
In the middle of a drought? Are you saying that the coco coir is not drought friendly?
I don't know how to respond to that. Whatever I say, the internet's gonna blame me for something. Hey, that reminds me, is it time to make another stew video?
That does look like stew.
You remember, we weren't always a gardening channel. I still don't know how this happened. So we want to make sure that the numbers are correct for this experiment. So I want to stick to the actual 3:3:1 ratio. So we are going to use this as our unofficial official. Basically, I'm going to do 3 of these of the cocoa, 3 of these of the mushroom compost, and 1 of perlite. And then if that's not enough to do a bucket, we'll do 1 more set. I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I was kind of expecting it to look
a little
bit more like a mushroom. So is this like vegan compost?
Maybe.
1. Okay, 2. Okay, 3. Go ahead and mix this up first.
Oh, so the perlite can be blown in the breeze.
Apparently I still haven't learned how to wear a mask.
That will make people angry too.
Second batch is going to be too much.
I mean, you could do it like one thing, and then a third of a thing.
I mean, I'm going to have... That's about a third. So now we know the secret. 4, 4, 1 1/3.
And here's a tag so we know. Okay, so now our mixture, and you got to floof this a little bit.
Yeah, to make it the same.
And why can't we use the soil that we've already made that are in pots that we haven't used?
Yeah, like it was refreshed, plus even then, that was not an actual measurement. So this is going to be more accurately measured. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is get my 4 of these separated out of here. And for those who don't know, because you can't tell on camera, the wind's gusting at 35 miles an hour right now.
I had little faith that that was going to fill 4 buckets, but it did.
4.
This
is compost. It even says it on the bag. So 1. Okay.
2. What do you mean you want me to record you dumping the third one?
You've been recording everything. I'm like, well, you gonna hit the floor or not? 3. And 4.
The evil peat moss.
1. Yeah, that's about right. Okay, so this is what an actual 3:3:1 with my original formula looks like.
Because nobody said a word about that. Even though that's probably what was the most wrong about the video.
Oh, that video is getting a lot of views. I'm sure someone...
Is it filming this? I think that one has 37,000 views. That way we know.
And one key thing of note is that if you look at the Miracle-Gro compared to both of the ones that we mixed ourselves, these look so much nicer, cleaner, better materials, less of the bad stuff, for lack of better words. Like, these just look better than this. That's one reason everyone likes to make their own, or one of the reasons. You have way more quality control than what you get in the stores. I'm basically going to water it until it comes out the holes.
It's really peeing.
Even though this one was pre-moistened, I'm still going to go ahead and water it because what I was saying earlier, there's going to be a little water thing at the bottom of each one. So this way everybody is completely equal with the amount of water that they got.
You might want to go ahead and spray that one down real quick.
Yeah, this one is a little bit more hydrophobic than the others because it's pure peat moss that wasn't wet, where the other one was partial peat moss and the other one not pre-wet. So it could be a con.
So are you saying that they're right?
No, I'm saying that there's pros and cons to everything in life. Everything is a risk reward. You've got to decide if they're worth it.
But you've not decided on this yet.
This is a true experiment for real reasons to see, hey, you know, what am I going to get out of each one, and is it worth the extra cost?
It's peeing.
And speaking of the hydrophobicness of the peat moss, this is definitely a good example. We basically have a swimming soup up here, but we still have not had water start shooting out the bottom like we have with the other two. To give them the best chance, we're using our new seeds that we bought this year. That way they're as new as they can get. And the two that we were debating between was a Cantera and a Kalima. Both of these are doing well. We wound up going with the Kalima because we had the best germination rate on this in our bed so far and the best looking size and quality of bean.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Now each one's getting one big hole so that they're still all the same.
Okay, we have fixed the problem with the one being too wet because it was kind of an operator error a little bit.
Wait, you made an error?
I told you.
You were wrong?
I've been saying I've been wrong for 20-some years now. Because I'm married. You just get used to it. Yeah, I was wrong. Will this possibly skew some stuff? Maybe, because I overwatered this one. It got a little bit wetter. But I mean, these are different materials. They absorb water at different levels anyway. Like, there's no way to make this perfectly identical unless I'd like measured out exact buckets of water. So, yeah, there's experiments and there's like double-blind studies. This is not a double-blind study.
No.
But I have poked holes, and all of them are measured to the exact depth of whatever that first knuckle is.
Kalima beans. Watch these be the best we've ever done. 2 and 3.
If you look at the way our sun comes in, they're all on the same sun line. They're going to get equal amounts of sun. I will separate them a little bit wider just to, help make sure they're not blocked by anything. They're not going to get any fertilizer. It's like whatever's in that soil is all they're going to get. When
do you think we're going to start seeing sprouts? Because what happened in our bed is it's been a week.
Yeah, basically within a week, we should start seeing stuff come up. Okay, so how things grow, we've got to hang around and see how that goes here in the future. And you'll see upcoming videos on that. But the math of where we are. Now, we're still trying to figure some of this out because we don't need to open our peat moss. And I don't know exactly how one of those truly breaks down. It says up to 4.4. We don't know how that really breaks down. What we do know is this. It takes 4 bags to make 5 of these containers right here. We undid 1 brick of cocoa, mixed it exactly 3-3-1, and we had enough for 3.5 of them. $60 for 4 bags of Miracle-Gro gave us 5. I need to pause on this for a second while I think. While other me's over there thinking, another common question that we got in the comments related around pH. And pH is one of those things that isn't really mentioned. It's not on the labels, and a lot of people may not even think about it. It can really mess you up. Lime and sulfur are the 2 main ingredients, amendments that people will put into soil to help change what that pH value is. In our case, we're kind of doing it with the soils that we're using themselves. It's what we're using to help bring ours down to where we want it to be. The peat moss is very much on the acidic side, but the black cow is actually very much on the upper alkaline side. So the 2 of them mixed together basically make a more neutral, balanced out pH level. Or at least we think. The internet seems to agree with me on that. And most of our plants that mostly like a middle of the road type pH have done well in this mixture for us here in our location.
What do we think the pH are in our experiment planters?
One of them is Miracle-Gro, and from what I've seen, they shoot for a 5, like middle of the road neutral pH. With my mixture, because we use one that's very much acid and one that's very much alkaline, I believe it brought it to a middle of the road. It's around a 5 area as well. I think, somewhere around neutral. And with the new experiment that we're using, both, at least from what I've seen, both coco coir and mushroom compost are both neutral. So basically, if you mix 2 neutrals together, it's still neutral. So I firmly believe that all 3 of these are probably around the same neutral pH level. This lavender and this fig both prefer an alkaline type soil. So with these 2, what I actually did was mix both my black cow and the mushroom compost for my compost to actually bring the alkaline level a little bit higher for these 2 plants. So that's part of that experimenting that you have to start doing in your own garden to find out what works best for you. We're not 100% sure how this is going to work, and this is another experiment for us this year. pH really is a balancing act, and it's very much a locale and item-specific thing that you should experiment and find out what works best for you. And in fact, thank you to everyone out there who's left the comments, because I wasn't really thinking about pH specifically in my head when I came to planting lavender, and we've had a hard time getting that to grow. And it got me to thinking, hey, maybe that's the piece of my puzzle that I've been missing all this time. So if this actually works, then you all out there are the ones who actually helped me. It's the beauty of the whole gardening community. It's like we're all here to learn from each other. So thank you all, and I hope you get something out of this as well. Okay, I'm done thinking, and yeah, I'm not even going to try to talk. So I'm just going to put up a little sheet. You can kind of pause the video, and you'll see all the number breakdown of what we believe we're at right now. One thing I've sort of learned in life is there's cost and there's value. So I may have chased cost and wind up having a bad value later on if my plants don't grow. That's the whole reason we're doing this experiment. We would love for you to join us on this journey and find out with this experiment, are we actually getting value or are we just saving cost?